Okay, I'm going to try again to tell you how I studied personality traits, inherent temperamental preferences, as they're sometimes called, before I knew anything about Myers Briggs, before I knew it had been studied and systemized and all that. But as a child, I was always observing things, and that included people. By the time I got up in the upper grades in school, I was noticing people that were different from most people, um, and got introverted thinking, dominant trait myself, so that I love to collect information and I love to sort it. And they're like little gems. Any kind of information, it can seem useless, but I just pick it up and keep it for later. I just know that it's going to fit in a puzzle somewhere one day. Um, yeah. So, people and how they act, how they behave, how they talk, how they walk, the things they do, the things they say, how they live their lives. This does not get excluded. I observed and collected that uh, over the years, so that by the time I got into college, I could do this little parlor trick, and I could entertain girls in my dorm by saying, "Hey, if you show me a picture of somebody from your hometown or your family, somebody I've never seen or met, I can tell you what they're like, or I can tell you something about them. Um, Maybe not very specific details, but I could certainly tell you more than their horoscope's going to tell you. I could tell them, oh, this guy's he's the class clown, or he's the life of the party, or this girl is friends with everybody. Um, this girl is very serious. Things like that, I could tell them. Um, and they would think I was psychic, and I was not psychic at all. I had just been watching people so much over the years. Um, and this is not a case where I know some people believe if you have certain eyes or face shape, or no, the face that you're born with is somehow correlates to your inner personality, inherent temperament, and I don't subscribe to that at all. I don't. That's not what I'm seeing when I look at a picture of somebody, and the picture it has to. If I'm going to do that, I can still do that. I can still look at a picture of somebody I've never seen. I can tell you something about them, but it has to be a picture that looks like that person. We all have pictures that don't look like us, and I can't work with that. And actors, a really good actor, they'll study somebody, and you'll get a picture of an actor who's acting like the character, and of course they're going to look like the character, not like the actor. Um, and they've studied how this person is holding their head, how they're holding themselves, how they're looking out of their eyes, how their smile is coming out, or it's not. Um, so there's those things that I can see in a photo, and then there's other manifestations, types, like just the way somebody is wearing their hair, or the kind of jewelry they're wearing, their clothes. Um, for instance, if they're wearing a neck scarf, because some people will never wear a neck scarf, like me. Or if you do happen to get a picture of me in a neck scarf, I do not feel like myself. I feel awkward. It's going to show in the way I'm looking out of my eyes, or not looking at anybody, or I'm not going to look like myself, and that picture will be disqualified. It'll be one of those that they'll say, that doesn't look anything like Grace. It's not just the neck scarf. Um, so yeah, I did that because I had been studying. I mean, that's just studying people's personalities, their their temperaments, we'll say. And I continued doing that in college without realizing that's what I was doing. And I was labeling people well, I didn't have words to label them, but I was labeling them and I was categorizing them. Of course, I hated the thought of labeling, being labeled or labeling anybody. So I would have never admitted that's what I was doing, but that's what I was doing. And I continued this, and I labeled I labeled all the interior design majors. I noticed they were all very much alike. They were all SJs. Um, and they were all good dressers. I mean, they dressed well, and um, they were all very polite, and there's nothing wrong with them. They were, oh, yeah, okay, something's wrong with all of us, but I'm just saying I'm not picking on them for being polite or dressing well, but I noticed that they all had these similarities, and I noticed that at least half of the music majors were similar in other ways, not in ways that the interior design majors were. Um, and this was a fairly small college. So when I say all the interior design majors, we probably had 12, maybe more. I don't know, but you could fit them all on a small bus, um, on a van. Yeah, you could get every single interior design major in a passenger van. It wouldn't be a big deal. Um, hmm. Yeah, but I didn't know anything about personality type or Myers Briggs at that time, even though I had taken the Myers Briggs indicator in my Psychology 101 class and just blew it off and didn't pay attention to it, was not interested in it. I, and then less than 10 years ago, I found the test result thing in a box on my carport and got it out, and it said I was an INTP. And I came out really strong. It had a very strong showing for introversion and thinking, and not as strong for perceiving. But the preference for in, intuiting, the intuitive sensing preference was right on the line. And of course, there's not an even number of questions, so you can't actually get a result that's on the border. It's going to be right, at least right over one spot over into intuitive or sensing, and mine happened to be one spot over into intuitive, but it's wrong. I mean, and I did originally, when I started studying Myers-Briggs, I did think I was an intuitive, and that's kind of funny to say that now because I'm so not. Um, I can talk about that in another video. How I used to think I was an intuitive. That's funny. Let's see. I'll stop this one. I want to make a video about. I forget. I'll tell you when I start the next video.